Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Just wanted to talk quickly about what is known as, but not known to very many people, as the second Passover. So of course we have the Passover feast, which happens on the full moon, and it's the 14th day of the first biblical year. And this year the Passover is the 8th. So working out from there, you can tell that the start of the biblical year is around very late, the last week of March. That's when the biblical Passover happens. And of course the Passover was when God came down to save the people from the Egyptians, who were enslaved in the Egyptians. Of course you had the plagues of Egypt and the Exodus and the crossing of the Red Sea, and then God taught them his ways and his Sabbath and all sorts of other stuff. And Passover is also the time when Jesus was crucified, the proper time that Jesus was crucified. Remember, we go by the moon. The Romans, their fake Christianity, they go by their own rules, which are rules that seem similar to God's, but they're not. They're actually different. How the Catholics go about it, the Romans, the Babylonians even, as the Bible describes them as Babylon the Great. How they go about it is the first full moon after the equinox, and then they go the Friday after that. Okay? So it may be that the Passover actually begins on a Wednesday, but they still don't recognise it. But I'm not going into that. I mean, it's a whole load of rubbish. I mean, how can someone be crucified on Friday? They have their Sabbaths mixed up. It wasn't a Sabbath 7th day. He got crucified. Jesus got crucified the day before the first day of Passover, the preparation day. Okay, the first day of the Passover, which will begin the evening of the full moon, and the evening, and then the night, and then the day after. That's the first day, because their days start at sundown. But he was crucified. And killed the day before the evening started for the first day of the Passover. But anyway, getting back to digressing a little bit. We're getting back to the second Passover. People might go, second Passover? What's all that about? Because they believe there's only one Passover, but there isn't really. Because if in Exodus, I think the year after the Exodus was laid down, the Passover was laid down to them. And the Passover feast was God, described about it, because the Passover was when they came out of Egypt. Okay, they slaughtered the lamb the day before, and God passed over, and the night after that, and killed all the firstborn of Egypt, and then the people left the next day. But the year after, anyway, there's the scripture describing it, and it talks about the second Passover, which is still recognised. And what it is that if a man is defiled in some way by either the blood, like he's got blood on his hands, or or a dead body, like defiled by a dead body, touching a dead body, just like it would in a war situation. If a soldier's at war, how can he can't be at war and celebrate a Passover, because of the scripture. And the scripture says that if a man is defiled by the blood or the body of a dead man, or it also says if he's on a journey, like if someone's been on a journey and they don't get back, or let's say they're away at war and they don't get back to be with their family and stuff for the Passover, the main Passover, then it says that the next month it will be the same, because remember the Passover is the 14th day of the first biblical month of the year, which is around March, April. The second Passover is the 14th day of the second month. It's quite easy, really, nothing complicated. So if you miss the the first Passover, the full moon, the 14th day of the first month, which this month will be, this year will be April the 8th. And it says, don't worry, that the next month you shall, you know, eat unleavened bread, and for 7 days. So I just wanted to run through quickly about the second Passover, because I haven't made a video about it, and I was just praying here about what to do, because one of my videos wasn't really going right. So I stopped and prayed about it, and just asked God, what can I talk about? Because I couldn't find the words for the last video I was trying to make. So anyway, I've been Pastor Justin Roberts from End of the Age Bible Prophecy, just letting you know there is a second Passover, which is actually called Second Chance, I think they call it in the Hebrew. So yeah, and that's if you missed the first Passover, because like if you're at war and you had blood on your hands, or by a dead man, or you've been on a journey and you haven't been able to get back home, then just know the month after you do the same thing on the full moon. You celebrate the Passover as you would have done if it was the first Passover. So God bless you all anyway. Amen.